Thank you for staying with us. Alera, that was a very... We tried to keep it mild, that NDGC thing. But let's see how we can manage this transport.
Well. People are waiting for more information, it seems, even though information has been going out for more than 2 weeks about this closure. But from my experience this morning, people still don't, either they're not listening or they're not paying attention. But it's like we still need to keep talking about it. We still need to keep talking about it. So the mainland bridge closure happened about, 10 hours ago. And that bridge, of course, is the longest bridge in Africa. Once upon a time, it was the longest bridge in Africa. And it's been closed for maintenance work, which began early this morning and will end on the 24th of January. That is 6 entire months. The project covers the rehabilitation of the Oworonshoki bound lanes to start with. And then after 3 months, the work will switch to the other side. So starting from this morning, Lagosians, will have to be disciplined and manage the situation in which they have found themselves. It's my pleasure to welcome, wait for it please, the Commissioner of Police of Lagos State, the Oga himself, Mr. Echo Odumosu. Good morning, sir. And thank you for joining us this morning. And on this side, I have Mr. Segun Ogungbemide, who is a Road Safety Corps Commander of Lagos State. Sector Commander, Lagos State.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning, sir. I will not say that I felt in a big way the presence of your men this morning coming here, because I left Aja area at 6 o'clock, and I did not step into the studio till 9 a.m. because there were huge bottlenecks. Heading to Eko Bridge on Kata Bridge, heading down to Ido to go through Oyinbo. It looked like people were not aware of which roads they should use, and there were not enough law enforcement or traffic operators to direct people. Sir, what was responsible for that? Is it because it's the first day?
Thank you very much. Well, the partial closure took effect from 12 midnight this morning, and we're all there to witness it. And immediately thereafter, the deployment of the men took effect. Naturally, being the first day, we were anticipating that things would just take, gradual effect. Like you said, information had been on for the past 1 month, and it could be that some people are still not believing that the third mainland bridge will be partially closed. So we still foresee a situation where people were still tending towards that direction. Naturally, it will be a kind of huge work for the traffic managers, and that's what you must have witnessed. The area where you feel you didn't see enough of the men could be that there are other pressure from the other hand that has taken their attention. But the truth of the matter is, right from that 12 midnight, the deployment has been done, and they are perfectly everywhere. This weekend is also going to be a natural simulation for us. For us to have an idea, it's even better that it's weekend. We can now have a kind of foresight of what things will look like as we enter the new week.
So it's going to be worse on Monday?
It's not going to be, because we are going to use this period to put all the checks in place.
Okay, it's good that we have the Commissioner of Police here, and your men also. I mean, your job requires both traffic management, your traffic unit, and then you also have the issue of ensuring that the crime rate in traffic is completely minimized or completely taken out as much as possible. But How would these look? Because even before now, the issue has been, it hasn't been a funny thing, traffic in Lagos.
Traffic in Lagos, just like any other mega city, as far as we are concerned, is part of the science of mega cities. But what matters most is the management as well as curtailing criminal effect of that traffic. And what we have done so far now with this one is we have deployed for the traffic management and the criminal, we have about 1,000 that we deployed. So at all the places, so within the Lagos State for this period. So the men in Mufti 2 have been deployed. So we are surveillance men now. Equally, the men on motorbikes too, we'll be seeing them now. So to ensure that there's drastic reduction in attack on people on traffic.
Okay, so
Commissioner, I will not lie to you. This morning I was actually very scared because from Ido to Oyingbo took the better part of 1 hour. So we were at standstill for most of the time. And I tell you, that all that time I had to sit on my phone and I was very, very alert, you know, even though it was early in the morning. So there must be many people who are sitting in traffic right now who are as apprehensive as I was this morning, worried about those boys, you know, hitting on them.
So by now you have more men that are deployed on there. And the assurance I'm giving to Lagosians is that, so not only during this partial closure of Tommy Lam Bridge and the attendant volume of traffic on all the other routes that they've been diverted into, the length and breadth of Lagos now, so we are fully prepared for reduction in traffic assaults. Now, for some time now, you've seen that Oshodi was in the news. But for the past 2 weeks now that we've taken over that area now, you cannot hear any report of anybody being attacked there.
Okay.
And we are doing that, we are replicating that in all the other parts of where we have perennial traffic gridlock.
Okay. We've since been joined by the team leader of the Presidential Committee on Clearing of Apapa Port and Access Roads, Mr. Kayode Okwefa. Good morning, Mr. Okwefa.
who also happens to be the former commissioner for Transport Lagos.
He knows a lot about what we're talking about. So, Mr. Okwefa, I'm glad you are here. Now, there is some problem with the alternative routes. Heading towards Eco Bridge this morning, there was plenty of traffic from Kata Bridge, from Ido, that is. Does it have anything to do with access to Apapa?
Definitely it will have, because that's one of the access to Apapa. Apapa access you have from Igomu, you have from Eco Bridge, descending into Ijora, Olopa by Waterworks. You also have coming from Kata Bridge, coming under the Kata Bridge into Ijora Bridge, into the Waterworks area. Then you have from Igomu. Now you also have from Costain. Then you have from the top of Eco Bridge. So definitely those are about the four. But the fifth one is on the other axis. That's the Apapa, Maitu, Lagos, Badagry Express axis.
Mr. Okwefa, this matter becomes really, and it's good that you're here because you had that task of clearing out the trucks on the road in that axis, especially now that there's going to be more traffic pouring into that side. We had our correspondents move around in the course of the week on different days, and there appeared to be those trucks still there on that axis, so that making movement of vehicles there a little bit difficult, especially coming up if you're going to the island in the morning on the Ikorodu Road, getting to beyond Stadium, beyond Stadium, that bridge. You find out that going up the bridge and down on the other side, you find some trucks. So if you decide to come down, there's still some issues of vehicles parked on the road as well. Wouldn't that be a problem now, especially more so the third mainland bridge is closed?
Thank you. I watched all those clips from your correspondent for the past 4 days. There are no stationary trucks. What
Really?
you have
Olu
are
Phillips.
trucks approaching the port, and this is the issue. You don't forget that Eco Bridge descent into, there are 2 Eco Bridge descent into Apapa. One has been blocked for reconstruction, the one that has the bridge separated. So what the trucks will now do is to now go through breweries to enter. Now, that also, for other cars, you also have a diversion at Alaka. So that's what you call non-recurring traffic that is due to construction. So because you make diversions, you will see some a conjunction of 10 to 20 minutes. So those trucks that are going, they are going to the port to do business. They are not parked. And the people in that area, including traffic managers, will tell you the trucks are not parked. Now, going to the other side, you will not see them on the co-bridge. Because that tells you that entrance into Apapa is free. But that is when you pass Costain, you climb, you are now on top of Eco Bridge.
Yeah.
You descend at the waterworks. Where you descend at waterworks, if you know city, you won't see them on the Eco Bridge. But under the bridge of Eco Bridge, where you have the Jora underpass, you will see because a lot of the trailer parks are outside the Apapa corridor. For example, the ones around Ido and all those waterfronts around Izo. So when they come out through the edges. But if they now have to go into Apapa, then they now have to share the road. Now, talking with the current situation, that would be an area for us to put more attention. And we definitely need to do something.
All right, Mr. Kwekwa, we'll take a moment. We'll come back. The CP and the sector commander are still here. We'll look at the plan to ensure that everything works seamlessly so that life is a little bit easier for the road users within this period. We'll be back in a moment. You'll stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at what's happening with the closure of the Third Mainland Bridge. It happened at midnight today, and already the effects of that are being felt across the metropolis, both on the island and on the mainland. So one of our guests in the last segment left home at 4 a.m. You left at 6 a.m. and you still didn't make it. She got here in good time. We'll still come back to the unit sector commander when he talked about why, you asked the question, why we didn't see his men on the road. So he will explain that one in a bit. But I know you wanted to ask the commissioner.
Yes, Commissioner. I know that one of the alternatives suggested is that people should use the ferries. How safe are people on those waters?
No, in preparation to this, people are safe, the waterway are safe. So prior to this now, we anticipated it, that alternative route is especially the volume of traffic coming from Ikorodu axis going to island. So that is the shorter route for them now, and to take the vehicular volume off the alternative route. So 4 other gunboats, so from the police, with the instruments of the government now have been repaired. They are on the road. And I've directed the
on the water,
officer, on the waterways. So I've directed my also the officer in charge of marine. So those are the routes you should concentrate. So unless there is any emergency on other parts of the waterways now, then it can move in. So where we have the jetties, where we have the Lagos State water boats coming in, those are the area. And I'm going to have a relationship now with the GM of last one, so that when they are moving volume of passengers now from that area now, so let us know, so that we add more. So Urochoki now, where they're going to cut now, so we're having a boat there, so for that, so as to pilot people down straight to island. The same thing, so by Dumota end, so where the close to work ground, many people are moving down there. So we have all these ones now to make sure that the waterways are safe, and to encourage many people now to go and reduce the volume of human traffic or vehicular one on the roads.
No, the access to those ferries is another matter altogether, because, for instance, the ferry at Oroshoki, someone who had used the ferry recently talked about the fact that the access to it is not too clear, it's not too good. So how to access the ferry at Oroshoki is another matter, but I'll take that up with Mr. Okwefa. I'm sure he'll have an answer for us on that. But let's get back to...
In fact, please, when you're asking Mr. Okwefa that question, we need to know all the locations where you can access ferry, so that people would prefer to move by ferry than to move by road at this time.
At least
but they don't know where.
There's no traffic on the waterways.
Thank you.
The sector commander... Sector Commander, that question Alera asked you about why your men were not there to help manage the situation,
which I actually responded to.
Yes, but not too clear. It wasn't too clear why they were not seen. Is it that the deployment was done after 6 a.m. or was it done before 6 a.m.? Were they already on ground before the closure? I know that it's extra work for all your people.
Thank you very much. Certainly it's extra work which we were all prepared for. The challenges were anticipated, all along. And like I said, the closure was at 12 midnight. and immediately after the closure, the partial concentration was on that third mainland bridge
Okay.
for us to assess and make sure that the traffic within that period was actually taken care of. The deployment to the other intersections and choke-up area took effect immediately. The road network of all the alternative routes are long and wide. So we are not talking of route lining. We are talking of intersections, choke-up area, and slip roads.
Okay.
You understand? So wherever she must have passed, naturally there could have been pockets of men there. And at the other side, where there could be pressure, the men too had deployed. But as time goes on, you'll be seeing the presence of more. But we are also expecting more than 600 LASMA to also complement whatever we are putting on ground. This is just the first day.
Okay.
Naturally, challenges will come, and we are going to solve it as it comes.
Commander, let me say immediately that your men were at Ido. As you come off Carter Bridge, your men were there at the foot of the bridge.
Okay.
But the traffic was coming from Oyinbo Market.
Yes.
And your men were not there to direct traffic. The madness was in Oyinbo Market.
Yes.
Because today is market day.
It was discussed at length yesterday. Oyigbo Market, that's the final stakeholders meeting. Oyigbo Market was the real line of concentration in our discussion because of the market.
Yeah.
And Lagos State has been given the mandate by the forum to say, let the market be pushed back. Because as long as we have the market there, it will create an obstruction on the main road, which is actually going to be a major issue. If we
One
will
lane.
talk
When you got to the market, one lane.
that was the issue that was discovered,
Yeah.
and they are already on top of it. But when you talk of Igbo markets, and we're talking of how crowded that place could be, and you can imagine that even if the men are there, there could be a kind of choke up, even in the midst of the work they are doing. That you might not be able to know that they are there, but they are actually there this morning controlling the traffic. On your way back, I'm telling you with every conviction that I'm very sure, on your way back you can take your time to wait and still reconfirm.
Okay.
No, I'm not going back through. Thank you very much. Once in 1 month.
Okay, so see this question, and let me just take it up with you so that you can respond. Okay, Boy Blue says, why are there no men of the road safety along the Ikorodu Road by Funshaw Williams through to Costain? Are your men around that
As
area?
at what time? Is it talking as at now? Is
I
it talking
don't
as
know.
at before?
You have to explain that.
All the men have been
Okay, the
deployed
sector commander
accordingly.
wants you to explain what time. Is it now or is it at a particular time? But let me take this, Mr. Okwefa. That question, Mr. Okwefa, about access to the jetties. There are jetties at several points. Alera wants to know where exactly those jetties are.
Thank you very much.
The access roads to those jetties, in particular, I mentioned the Oronchoki jetty because someone had talked about it. The access to that place is just, as they say in local parlance, kurukere. So, bendy, just to get there. So how accessible are those jetties to ease the pressure on the roads?
Thank you very much. Let me just say this before I answer that question, that we are in the very first day. There are a lot of apprehension. There are a lot of surprises. And like the sector commander had mentioned, over time, things will get better. On the issue of jetties, the people that will take advantage of the waterways are people from Ikorodu, Badagry, along the water corridor, Uronshuki, Majidu, and the rest. Now, where are the jetties? You have one at Ipakodo, a standard jetty that takes you from Ikorodu. That's the Ikorodu jetty. And it can take you down to Island, where you can descend along the, where you have Admiralty toll gate, all along that corridor, down to Falomo interchange, you have the 5 Kauri jetty. And then you can also take that to Butero. That will take you into the core of Lagos Island, Saleko. And so there's another jetty there, very standard and safe jetty. Now, if you're coming from the Badagry axis, you have Ebute Ojo. That will take you from Ojo. Around the Kukumaiko, there's another one. The Ebute Ojo, Kukumaiko will bring you down to Maitu. And from Mile 2, there's also movement up to Marina. You can get to Marina, you can get to Ibuteru, and you can get to any padlock. Now, on the Oronshoki, and there are two jetties in that area. There is Oronshoki, and there is a one by the Unilag waterfront. Now, it's a built-up area. So the access, like you described, it was not as if a jetty was built with roads. The government took advantage of the Unilag waterfront to put one, I think that's the Bariga Ilaje jetty. Then you have the Oronshoki, which you cannot see from out there. That one can also take you to Agboyi and the Majidu. So the access on the Oronshoki and the Bariga may be as it described, but the fact remains that you can still find your way to the jetty. Now, seriously speaking, for those coming to Lagos Island in the morning, nothing has changed. Your road is still the same. The third mainland bridge is still available. And that's the explanation from the government that 80% of people who use that road will still have access to the road. So the concern more is like my sister's kind of moving from an island into the mainland. And also on this issue of men on the road. Believe me, I passed through all those routes this morning. The men are there. I saw the last men. I saw few FRC men. And we should not forget it's 250 and 650 additional men. They're actually there. What happened this morning is apprehension. And then people are just getting to adjust. On the port, let me tell you, it works 24 hours, but the trucks are not expected to be on the road.
Mr. Okpefa, just hold it there, because someone just sent in a message, and I need to take it up with you. He says, let me read the bottom. He says, what's his name? Zizu_NG says, tell Mr. Okpefa that the Alaka Costain bottleneck is beyond 20 minutes, as he said in his statement. He also says that the trucks, the Olasheni Ogunyin says that why are the trucks blocking the 2 lanes from Ojuelegba inward stadium? Says these trucks literally park on the road and cause total lockdown on that axis. I know you talked about that they have to use the brewery to access Apapa, but is there a way for them to stay on one side, but 2 lanes are blocked? That's what Laseni is saying here.
Agreed. Now, a correction. I never said it takes 2 minutes traffic at.
He said 20 minutes. He said it's longer than 20 minutes.
I never referred to that area as a 20 minutes. I said for you to the 20 minutes you add to your journey, to your former journey. Okay. Now at Alaka you have a diversion. When you have a diversion, you are going to have a non-recurring traffic due to that diversion. Now you have that is inward Lagos. The traffic is referred to as inward Lagos. That area is not affected by this diversion. So it's another issue. Now, as at yesterday, we discovered yesterday, they were fixing the Abebe Igomu area. That caused a lot of traffic in that area yesterday. I don't know what has caused it this morning. Now, what I said is that the tankers, you won't see truck on Alaka Costain this morning. I passed through that place. You see tankers and cars. The tankers are going to load. Now, what we are doing with them is to restrict when they will load, just like we did during Christmas. That's what we need to do. Now, they are supposed to take 1 lane. That is the job of the enforcement officers on ground. They should keep them to be on 1 lane. I agree with him.
Okay. Commissioner, we should also recognize that many people are still working from home. So what we have on the road, or what we shall have on the road on Monday, is not the full complement of Lagos people moving from the mainland to the island and from the island back after work at 5 p.m. So when COVID decides to release everyone and everyone goes back to work, what are we going to be seeing? Because we pray that this happens within the next 6 months.
Well, I would rather suggest that we should still sustain the COVID protocol within the next 6 months. Because even the last time the Mr. Governor spoke about it, he said if you know you can manage outside the road, you can still go ahead and operate from home. We cannot say because Lagos State Third Mainland Bridge is partially closed that could be the reason why we are having this gridlock. Lagos State gridlock has been there all this while, and we have been managing it. So let us not attribute it to what is happening now, because what we have now is just 20% of the entire traffic that is making use of Third Mainland Bridge.
Okay.
Which we are trying to manage.
Okay, all right. I understand we have to go in 2 minutes. So let me give this information and then we'll take closing statements. 10 seconds each, please. So please, Lagosians and road users in Lagos, using that access, know this. The FRC is deploying 250 men, right?
250.
The LASMA is deploying 650 for this situation. The police is deploying 1,000 men. The commissioner said it here. I'm sure he will confirm again. So again, road safety 250, LASMA 650, police 1,000, all to manage the traffic situation that's born out of the closure of the Third Mainland Bridge. So in closing, 10 seconds each, beginning with the police commissioner.
Manage just to reassure members of the public that police is out to protect their lives and property while in traffic. You cannot stop traffic in Lagos, but you have to manage and make sure that people that are stuck in traffic now, so the apprehension of being attacked now is off.
Okay.
So they should be rest assured. And once there's any tendencies now, all our lines are on to be called immediately.
Okay.
So that response.
Commander?
I will say the members of the public should cooperate with all the traffic managers. They are there for their sake. There was a little brush this morning, and these are the things we are trying to prevent. There's still going to be enforcement. If you want to be recalcitrant, you might be keeping your vehicle for a long while. Because one of our boys was brushed and the vehicle is still in the office. You know where you intend to get to out of lack of patience. You might not eventually get there if you don't have that patience that is required.
Okay. Mr. Pfeiffer?
What I would say is to say that this road was repaired 2008, it was done in 2012, and it was done in 2018. And all this while, the enforcement officers, the Lagos state government manage the situation, and this would not be an exception. Lagosians should relax, be confident, reduce the apprehension, and trust the effort of government and the enforcement team. Everything will be okay. The first 2-3 days, or maybe a week or two, might be the period for us to adjust. After that, everything will be okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okpaifa, and that is where we have to draw the curtain on this segment for today. I would like to thank Mr. Hakeem Odumosu, Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Segun Ogungbemide,
Thank you very much.
as well as Mr. Kayode Okpaifa,
Your brother.
Team Leader of the Presidential Committee on Clearing of Apapa Port and Access Roads. Thank you very much for coming. We hope to see you again soon with an update, and I mean the entire
Indeed,
team.
we'll bring all of you back again.
Thank you very much for coming. Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Do stay with us.